Hi, I'm Avinash Shashidhara, and this is the Great British Chef's signature series. I was born and brought up in a small city called Bangalore. There was an amazing food scene when I was growing up. So every single dish on our menu has some connection with home. My most memorable dish would be at this 100-year-old restaurant where they make dosas on a hot stone. It's the best dosas you'll ever have. I think the Indian food in London has changed a lot over the 10 years, but I think there is scope for something that's simpler, more home style, more seasonal, and that's what we're trying to do here. So the dish I'm cooking today is Mangalore Buns. I love this dish because it's a combination of sweetness, spicy crab, and lots of other flavors like ginger and chili. So we've got these beautiful brown crabs that have just arrived from Scotland. We get them about 2 or 3 times a week, depending on the consumption, but we've stabbed them, so they're already dead. We're going to boil them in water with a little bit of salt. It'll take about 15 minutes in total, so I'm going to drop them in this hot boiling water now. So once it comes up to the boil, I'll cook it for a further 10 to 12 minutes, depending on how big the crab are. I think these will take about 10 minutes. So I'm going to make the crab sauce now. We'll start with a little bit of oil. I'm just using sunflower oil here. So once your oil's hot, add a few mustard seeds in there. Just a tiny bit. You don't want too much because mustard is quite bitter and pungent, so you don't want to overpower your dish. Add a few chopped green chilies. Again, with chili, it's very subjective. You should do what spice levels you can handle. Just add as much as you think you can handle. Some curry leaves, a couple of sprigs, I'd say. You can find good curry leaves in London now. I live in Shepherd's Bush and I'll find this in the market every time I'm there. So there we go. Get a few onions in there as well. Just some roughly chopped onions. So you want to sweat the onions. You don't want to actually brown them or anything in this dish. I'm going to add the ginger now as well, because when you eat that crab, you want a bit of crunch from the ginger and the flavor explosion. So there we go. I'll put about a tablespoon, I'd say. So be generous with these flavors. Don't be shy, because that's what Indian food is all about. The burst of flavors and textures and all that. I mean, the aroma from this itself is superb. The onions are slightly soft and translucent now. I'm going to start with the spices, because it's really important to cook your spices. If you don't cook your spices, that's when you feel like you've got an upset stomach. You want to extract the oils and the flavors from the spices. So just a tiny bit. I'd say I'm not a huge fan of coriander powder. It's just me, but again, you can use how much of it you like. There's no set recipes. That's how we cook at home with our senses. So, and then I'll put a little bit of this hot chili powder as well. You can see it's a really beautiful color. It's going to add to the final dish. So you don't want to cook the spices too much, because if you overcook the spices, you won't taste them later, because they don't retain their flavor. So to this, I'm going to add some pureed fresh tomato. So that'll go in. A lot of our Indian recipe bases are onion and tomato based. So as you can see, it's not too saucy. It's quite a dry dish. Sukka means dry. So you want to try and keep this dish quite dry. So coconut milk adds sweetness to the dish. So you can add as little or as much as you'd like. So as soon as you add the coconut milk, the color changes slightly, which is exactly what you're looking for. And you want to cook this down till it becomes another sort of a paste. Also, make sure you season your food as you go. So lots of sea salts. Yeah, so this will take about another 3 or 4 minutes, and then we're ready to add the crab to it. So I'm going to make the Mangalore buns now. The dough has some unusual ingredients like banana and yogurt that you wouldn't find in a traditional flatbread. It's almost like a banana bread, except it's a flatbread. If you see the thickness, it's not too thin. We want it to be slightly thick, so when it puffs up, it forms a nice pocket inside. So try and roll it out evenly so it puffs up evenly. If it's not rolled out evenly, then they'll be flat. But you can still eat them, they're still delicious. So there we go. So we like to fry everything in a nice wok. The oil is really hot. I'm gonna drop these in gently so they cook. So it'll take about a couple of minutes. You see, as soon as you put it in hot oil, they start to puff up. I'm gonna flip this over now. So you want them golden in color, nicely cooked, and for them to hold their shape. So Mangalore Buns originates from a little place called Mangalore. So this is something that people eat with their coffee or tea in the evening with a really spicy chutney. So traditionally it wouldn't be served with a crab or a fish, it's just a snack. So make sure you drain all the excess oil. And then onto a kitchen paper. So the crab is cooked. They're still a little bit warm. I'm gonna break them up. So there's a lot of meat in these bits, so we keep them. The most of the meat of crab is in the claw. So I'm just gonna pick through that. The most important bit is the brown meat. See, that's the best bit. That's where a lot of the flavor is. So that's what we're gonna use in this dish as well. So you can get all that out. So there we go. We've got enough white meat and brown meat for a couple of portions. So the sauce, it's actually ready. It's got a nice deep color, quite rich. So I'd say 2 spoons of it. So into this, we'll add the prepped crab meat. So it's almost equal quantities of brown meat and white meat. The brown meat makes it really creamy, and you get the sweetness from the white meat. So there we go. As you can see, it's getting drier. So that's what we're looking for. Give it another minute or so, and then it's good to plate. So I'm going to plate this up. So there we go. Just again, very simple. Nice wedge of lemon. And a bit of fennel herb. Just because fennel again is quite sweet. It goes really well with crab. So this is my Mangalore buns with crab sukka.